Hi, my name is DocsNotch and this is the Hidden Springs Project. What's the project? It's a multi-level challenge course that I'm building designed to be used in an SMP setting. I'm working to take inspiration from some of my favorite games like Portal 2, Dark Souls 3, and Skyrim to design cool puzzles and contraptions for people to play through in Minecraft. Players will be able to join leagues and unlock checkpoints as they progress, and on occasion they'll receive rewards for making it to a certain point. The goal is to challenge players in different ways, but most importantly, we want them to have fun in the process. Now, the last video I made where I recorded myself building a project in Minecraft was over 6 years ago, so with this, we're picking up where I already have the first zone done, because it took a minute for me to sack up and decide to document the process. However, it's very likely that I'll be reusing elements from the first 2 bits in the future, so I'll go over them in more detail then and teach you how to build them if you have questions about them. What I have so far is a 2-part path that leads players to the first checkpoint, or the League of Ronin, as I call it. The first path is the Path of the Bee, where players need to figure out a way to bounce off of slime blocks from a decent height to gain access to the exit and an altar. At the altar, they collect a piece of flint named Hoof of the Goat. They then take that item, the flint, across the next path, the Path of the Goat. Once they clear the fairly basic parkour course that the Path of the Goat is made up of, they deposit the hoof in the receptacle and the door to the League of Ronin opens. They go through the process of joining the league and then they press on. This brings us to where we are now. This next segment is based off of the Ragnvald dungeon from Skyrim. There's a central locked object, and you need to take 2 side routes to get 2 keys to open the lock. In Ragnvald, there are tons of enemies to hinder your progress, but we're going to need to get more creative since our players won't be allowed any weapons or items. Once you unlock the sarcophagus in Skyrim, it unleashes a dragon priest, who you 100% definitely totally kill every time, and don't cheese for the loot because you're underleveled. That doesn't happen, trust. However, in this one that we'll be working on, the keys will simply unlock another puzzle that will be explained in greater detail as it all comes together. Now that we're on the same page, it's time to dive into this project and make some really cool stuff. Alrighty, so let's start hammering out some details, shall we? To explain it a little further, if you didn't catch it from the Skyrim clips, down both of these 2 side routes here, actually let me turn on some night vision really quick. Down both of these side routes here, the players are going to get key items, right? Probably pieces of glass renamed crystal of something is what I'm thinking from each of these, and they're going to have to bring them back to this central room here, and when they put them both in the receptacles, so there'll be something like this probably coming out of this circle, something like that I think would look cool. And then let's see, let's get like the hopper would be, you know, right there for each one. And you'd have to figure out, you know, which one goes into which. Just another little puzzle, because I also don't want this to be too easy. I really do want it to be challenging. And when you bring those back, it's going to unlock the next puzzle. And to explain the puzzle that I'm thinking of, it's going to have to do with all of the wood types. So throughout the 2 paths that we're going to be building, we're going to have little riddles or visual representations to tell people which order the saplings go in. I'm pretty much just going to leave it in this order here and see if people know it anyways, because there are people who play the server where English isn't their first language, or they might be little kids and they'll just run past the clues, and you know, we want to make it accessible for as many people as possible while still making it somewhat challenging. So basically, if you know the order that saplings were added into the game, you would go, I think it's oak, spruce, birch, jungle, acacia, dark oak, is that it? I think it is. I think I got it. Cool. So it would basically tell you that order, that code throughout different parts in the puzzle, and then when you bring the 2 key items back, it'll unveil this and allow you to press the buttons. If you get it right, it'll open the path. If you get it wrong, well, you got to do it all over again. So that's the main puzzle that'll get you out of the entire zone, and with that, we can start on the first path. Alright, so this path isn't going to be challenging at all if people can't fail it, right? You need a fail state. That's why we had people able to fall into the void on the first path, and I think we're going to try to stick with the same theme here. I do want players to have to dedicate themselves, or commit, I think would be a better word. Commit to a path once they fall down. So we're going to start off with just putting some stone slabs down like this to make sure that people can't get back up once they commit to a path. And then they're stuck on it and they have to see that one through to the end without backtracking, just to prevent a few little exploitation issues. It's also one thing that you have to really keep in mind when you're making things for an SMP setting is how people are going to play together, right? Because if somebody else comes in here after somebody else has already started, you have to think about how that's going to function as well. But for now, I think I'm going to make something like, what do you even call those things? Pendulums. That's it. The things that swing back and forth and slaughter people in the paths. But we're going to make it a little different. It's going to be double pistons, double piston extenders that'll push people into lava pits, right? So let me get some of this path laid out a little bit better, a little bit more decorative, and see how long we want to push it real quick, and that'll be the first little challenge. Alrighty, so I was going to try to do a 2-high double piston extender, but I feel like this is just going to do fine. I think this is one from Mumbo Jumbo, if I remember it right, but basically this is the power block, and then it kicks it out to blocks just like that, which is exactly what we need. We're just going to hook all these power blocks, or these input blocks, up to a clock, and then they'll all be firing at the exact same time. To build one of these is super simple. Just need an observer facing like that, 2 redstone dust, a repeater facing that way, set to 3 ticks, just like that, and then a repeater on nothing into a block like that, and then you just hit the button, and it works. It's magic. I changed it from, I think I said lava pits before, but one-shot kills are pretty much what we're going for here. Really want people to have to actually try to get through it, because we want some clout. We want some clout. If people if people beat the zone that they're working through, you want people to have something to brag about and think that it was actually hard, and hopefully it will be. All right, so I think that's feeling all right. We added another block on top of these little pusher bits here and adding some stairs in. I think on top here I want like just the regular blackstone though, or where did that block even go? I just got it out. There we go. Just to add a little switch up in the texture, but also keep it very, very dark, because that's just, it's key to having a dungeon. You don't want any light in there that you don't need. So now you have this cramped little space, right? And ideally, I feel like we could actually do something here where I feel like I do want to change the ground to sand as well, and then maybe that to sandstone, just to have it be like, maybe the stones were graded over again and again and again, and they got worn down, and there's dust on the floor from those blocks being rubbed all the time. But anyways, that can come in the future, I think. But if we do a slab, and put it all the way down like that. Would it be this one? Yeah, so this height, actually. Ooh. You guys see where I'm going with this? You have to shift to move through, so you can't move too fast. So you would really have to time yourself very well, and it would feel extremely, extremely cramped. Okay, so here we have kind of the rough entryway. We'll have to redo this and add some different stone textures and leaves and stuff like that. We need to make sure that people walk on a slab before they get in here to activate it, and that they walk on a slab as they leave to turn it off. But basically, these are the little shafts that we have people falling down, birchwood, and then knocked off into oblivion like that, which should be pretty cool. But yeah, let me see if I can get all the redstone hooked up, and then maybe cut the light at the back so we can get the full effect. Alright, so I'm going to turn my sound off for a second here because it's super loud, but it's stupid easy to hook up. If you just replicate all of these double piston extenders, you literally just run repeaters through, and all of the power or the input blocks should line up right outside of the wall. So then you just hook that up to a really basic clock like this, fix the time to whatever works for you, make sure that both sides are connected, and it works like a charm. However, I'm noticing that in here, if we go around the first one, or this, you just saw the problem there. If we're going in here and we're already forced into crouch, it forces us down on this stair and it doesn't push us off, right? So it's the exact opposite of what we want. But I think what we need to do is just take the L and put sandstone slabs in all of this. Oh, whoops. No! This little block up here now. How sad. I have to make this the most boring shape possible if I want this to actually work, I think. Or I guess nobody's really gonna notice either. darn if I just do that. I think that'll be okay. It's very sad looking and definitely not as cool, but I think this is going to be a more efficient death trap. So we're going alright, It's definitely doable, but if we get hit, there we go. Save. Dang. How sad. So I think this is going to be the finished tunnel design. Very dark, very cramped, insta-kill chambers, it's all well and good. I also redid the front here to make it look more like a little caved-in ruin, but I think what I want to add next is just a little bit of lighting. So obviously we don't want people playing through this in pitch blackness. That wouldn't be very fun, but we also don't want it to be perfectly lit because that would ruin the atmosphere. So what I've done here is stuck a shroom light on top of like a little tube, right, that leads right over the death drop pits since they're already going to be open. But now when we look in here, I think if we go back down, it adds just a soft little touch of light right here. And if we want, I think we can make it even a little dimmer than that. Maybe. Let's move it up by 1 block and put in the rest. And just like that, we have some dim light down here. I think it looks pretty cool. And then I dragged the birch all the way up to the top just for consistency's sake. And if we go back out to the beginning here now, it's going to be the main room. Hop down here. I do think we need a light in here. I think that would make it a little better. Draw people's attention over and kind of let them know where they need to go. I think that looks pretty good. Ambient light, quote, right there. Perfect. And now we're all set. Just need to hook up the redstone component to make this turn on when you pass this way and not turn off until you get to the end. So hear me out. This might sound lazy, but I feel like the blocks getting stuck like this is actually okay, because if we step on the pressure plate and activate the system, they get reactivated anyways, like that, and then they keep going just like normal, right? You can see that if you step on the pressure plate again and activate the system, nothing happens, right? So it's not just a basic T flip-flop that would activate it. It activates once, sets the system in motion, and it won't turn off until we reach the end here. Perfect. And then at the end here we have a tripwire hook that you cannot avoid, which will go over and it'll deactivate the system just like that. And the way that that works is that the pressure plate's over here, right? Goes into a repeater, into this torch to turn it off for just a second. That torch unlocks this repeater, which passes the signal that way, but doesn't do anything to turn it off, right? So that pressure plate just unlocks that repeater and allows the signal to pass through and activate the piston chain. The tripwire hook goes over here, activates this current, which turns this redstone torch off, the one that unlocked that repeater, turns it off for just a second. That's set to 2 ticks, and then it also comes over here to this back torch set to no ticks. So what happens is that when they hit the tripwire hook, the torch turns off and it relocks the repeater and takes the signal away, which turns the clock back off. And now that that's all set up, we get to move on to the actual fun part of the vault, which is designing a new puzzle. So I talked about this briefly before, but with this dungeon, we need to make sure that it can be beaten by multiple people in a row, so it has to be able to reset itself. So things like levers aren't going to be possible, because if somebody uses it to beat the puzzle and go through, they're not going to flick it back up. So that's out of the question. We also can't use item frames, because if people move it into the right position and unlock something, they're not going to reset it. So that's not going to be possible either. The other thing that I was just thinking about right now is that if somebody's playing through one of these puzzles and they rage quit, they have to go, they do whatever, and they leave in the middle of it, it also can't be something that just hangs in the balance and somebody walks into a half-completed puzzle. So it's gonna be pretty freaking challenging designing this, but the goal here, the goal for this one, I think is gonna be to mimic another puzzle from Portal. But instead of using laser beams to unlock different little checkpoints, I think I'm gonna try to use a water stream that you have to push over certain checkpoints using observers, because we can do it like this. Bear with me here, I think I'm laying out the concept for it. So say that the water starts flowing down in this middle tube here, just so you can see it, right? So you can visualize what you have to do. Then the goal would be to kick out a piston through here at the right moment. If it flows any farther and hits an observer that's farther down, it'll turn the water off, you know? So then you have to hit it and make sure that it doesn't hit anywhere past that. then go to the next part, and you can see that if water flows like this and you hit a block under it like that and you open it, it just keeps flowing to the end anyways. But if you go over here, take that out, and then do it, we all know what happens. It won't flow that way anymore. So you can't do it after the fact, you know? So as soon as water flows past where you're supposed to hit the switch and get it out, that's when the fail state kicks in and it'll reset the entire thing. And we're also gonna need to make sure that the pistons won't stay open and leave it like this. We need to just have one stream of water. Typically, if you get a water bucket and you put it down at the beginning and you pick it back up, it needs to flow for just that amount of time, right? So that's the max length that it can flow anyways, right to here. And we can see that if we cut the water off too soon, nothing happens. It needs to flow at least that one block, but then it'll go for the rest of the time. So we need to make sure that it flows just the right amount to send one stream of water through the whole thing, so that you can't just have a constant stream and just have to time it. You'll really have to guide that one little thing, and if you mess up, you have to start over from the beginning. So with the concept laid out, I'm going to try to get something together here. So this looks rather crude, I think, at the moment. Hopefully I can make this into some sort of cool, like, what would that be, like a hieroglyph kind of looking wall when I add all the decorations and stuff into it. But for now, it kind of looks like a weird anthill. But I think I have all the buttons in place here in the middle, you know, console, whatever you would call that. And this is going to allow people to control the flow of water. Now, just need to figure out how to build the actual redstone. So not going to time lapse that because it's going to take me the better part of a day or so. But yeah, let's see if I can do it. In the interest of not making this video take a billion years to get through, because we still have a whole other path to build, and then the final puzzle, I did a little building off camera. You know how that is. So we added these nice little decorative bits around the sides here, which is always nice. And then this is our main puzzle that we got all fixed up. I originally, like, I don't know if you can see the pattern in here, how it kind of goes like tall bit and then it gradually extends. And when I was looking at that, it looked like an aqueduct, like straight up, and I was like, wow, that's perfect. But I couldn't. I was gonna make like a mural out of blocks on the wall and try to make like a little image of water flowing down, and that's like your clue for like figuring out the puzzle. Just didn't have enough space though, so I just kind of put in these designs, which are cool. Still gonna decorate it a little bit. Need to put some plants in here and other things like that, and then I have this open right now just for some lighting. But if we can see it in action, this is how we do the puzzle. Hopefully I can beat it right here. This starts the water stream up there, then we're gonna catch it and move it across just like that. Next one, come on, I can do it. Ah, damn it. But you get the idea, right? The timing up there, it allows the water to drop just enough to get a source block through. I messed it up that time too. Just enough to get a source block going so that we can catch the stream of water and start moving it through, just like this, to the end. Come on, and there we go. Boom. Looks easy, I know, because I'm a pro at it now. But it's pretty tough. I just had one of our admins on the server actually come through and test it out, and it does take a while for a new player to get the hang of it, so I think it's going to work out really, really well. But that's all done, and now the next step is to take the signal from this observer down here when the puzzle finishes and the water finally reaches it. It's going to open a door in this wall, and I'm thinking about having some fireworks go off at the end or something, because this puzzle can be pretty frustrating, I think. Especially because, like, with a younger player or somebody who might not have the best vision, somebody who might be a little slower, it's going to be very, very, very frustrating. And it's tough because I don't want it to be frustrating. I want it to be fun. That was the whole point. It's the main thing. So gonna need to make this worthwhile to get through. Another thing is that in these pendulums right here, the ones that knock us into the bits, I realized that if somebody gets knocked off to their death and they rage quit and they decide that they don't want to come back, these are going to be stuck on if they hit the pressure plate and activate them and everything starts moving around. Then if they leave and they give up, it's all going to be stuck on. So I need to add some tripwire hooks down here where they fall to their deaths and hook them up to the deactivation circuit. And with that, I believe the puzzle is done. Let me show you around the room really quick. Got some little decor here. I'll explain that in a second. The main thing is this little campsite, right, where people set up. And the clue here, little book on the lectern, it explains that you need to channel the water from the top left to the bottom right. And then it gives you a little clue to what's going to happen too when you get it wrong. But basically, the goal, still the same. Move the water from the top left to the bottom right. Don't let the water touch the bottom observers. But now we can see that if we do the puzzle right, I think I can get it this time, become fairly proficient at it, having to test it a million times. There's that one, and then the final one, and we get it into the bottom. How cute is that? We got some blinking lights and a firework, some note blocks, everything possible to draw people's attention over here, because the people who I had to test it just kind of stood there in the middle of the room even after they solved it, and didn't go through the door that they had just unlocked. So really trying to usher people out of the room, or they're gonna have to do it again. But now we can see that when we fail it, I also hooked up a little surprise. There was a lag spike there, that was my bad. But now we can see that when we fail it, there's a little surprise with note blocks and another thing. How cute is that, right? Little defeating set. Oh! And boom. Got some bombs going off. So if you don't move off the platform, you'll, be dismembered and vaporized. Classic. Very nice. But the other thing is that it provides you with another level of understanding the puzzle, where if you don't want to die and you messed up, you need to get the hell off of the platform each time, which people have been learning pretty quickly. Okay, so with the note blocks here, we have them set up, but we want that to go off twice, right? And to do that, we need to make sure that this hopper passes this item back and forth twice to send off two little pulses. And to do that, you need to make sure that the pulse from one of these observers is long enough to let the hoppers bounce it back and forth twice. So all that is a really basic pulse extender right here. If you don't know how these work, we're going to use them a lot in the future. Already use them in a couple spaces throughout the place, but whereas a button pulse typically would just do this to your redstone signal and make it last that long, a pulse extender like this with a button on it, we can see, look at this one over here, it lasts for far longer. So that's how you do that. And then if you want to extend it, you literally just tile them together, and that's how you get very, very long button pulses. But basically, it's really, really self-explanatory back here for this part. If you want the water to travel down, or if you want to catch the water traveling down, you need to push the piston out. If you want to let the water flow down, you push the piston in. So it's literally just making a puzzle of which pistons need to move out and which ones need to move in to get the water in the right spot. And it's extreme. Oh, whoops, not that. There we go. It's really, really basic. There's no extra timers. It's literally just the buttons hooked up to the pistons. That's it. Super basic. Just making sure that your signals are strong enough to go all the way through. The observer that catches the water at the end, the victory one, you need to make sure that the water can fall off to the side, because if it sits in front of the observer, it's going to set off multiple observer pulses, which is not what you want, and it's going to break your system. So make sure that the water just flows across it, and then when the water is clear, it'll just function like normal. So we did that, put this on full ticks, hooked it up to a pulse extender so that that second tick from the water disappearing doesn't reactivate a T flip-flop, So the water passing just makes the T flip-flop activate once. And if we can do this really quick, you can see that, or it should be here, sorry. You can see that pushing that redstone block into place did a bunch of different things. It opened the door. Again, this is just a copy from Mumbo Jumbo. Up here, just put a little note block chain, and then these repeaters that are snaking back will then reactivate the T flip-flop and turn everything off. So however many repeaters you put down here, that's all they had to solve it. Could have done something a little different with a hopper timer, but it's literally just, I was just gonna do repeaters. It's fine. I'm not trying to impress anybody. No one's gonna see that. But then to just also drag the signal up here too to add it into the firework dispenser. Got that all set up. and then the TNT is dispensed through these and then put in these little cells, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full tick repeaters, and then a few like this, just to time it so that the pistons retract when the TNT is already ignited, so it just blows up right above people's heads, which just takes a little bit of testing depending on your setup. And that is how you do this puzzle. And with that being said, I think we can move on to the next part. To finish this route off, after we get through the water channel room, I think I'm going to come into a puzzle that can't kill you for once. Because if you already got through the pendulums, you already got through here, I'm trying to think through, like, if you get killed in here, you also have to pass through all this again, which is kind of a pain, and if you have to do it again and again, it might be frustrating. So once they get through this, it might be time to give people a break. Sure, people could breeze through it, but if they can, good for them, they deserve it. So with this next room, I'm just gonna have it kind of centered around getting up this waterfall, all gonna be enclosed in a cave. So when the cave update comes out, actually, we might go back and touch this up. But anyways, it's going to be involving just a really basic parkour puzzle. The bottom's going to be full of water, and if you fall, you fall. Not going to be much that can really kill you in here, and the objective is just going to be to get up over this and then back down over here. I closed up all my redstone with lime concrete to let myself know that if I hit lime concrete, don't break it, especially when I'm messing with water, and just to protect all my redstone from the water. But the goal is to get it back over here and through this wall. This is where we're going to make our exit path, and that'll bring us back into the main chamber. Whew, so we're almost there for the first path. Looking pretty good so far, I'd say. Here we got this little pond, which I might put some fish in. I think it's going to look pretty cool if there's, like, you know, some life to it. Definitely going to add some plants. I don't know about lighting though. Don't know about that yet. But basically we've got this course set up super simple. You're just going to take it all at a full sprint, and maybe it's not that simple, but you know, it's, oh my god, you serious? Come on. Yeah. Okay, it's possible. Trust me, it's possible. Maybe not there. But you're just going to jump across here, bridges out, make that jump, come around here, and then you're going to work up you're going to work your way up the side from there. But at the beginning, the very beginning, I don't know if you remember, I said that the course here, or the courses, we're going to test your observational skills. So if you happen to look over here and see this specific jump here, then you know that you can make that jump. So if you don't want to do the whole course like that, or if you look around and see that there's a better way, there is a little route here up on the side, just like this, where you'll be able to get to the same spot. It's a little tougher. This jump specifically, the one that you have to make, it's one of the harder ones because it's one of the ones where you have to jump out and to the side. You know, it's nothing crazy, but it's one that I've seen people struggle with. Whereas I couldn't even make the straight jump, but it's whatever. So that's what we've got so far. Gonna finish getting a route up here to the top of the waterfall. Then we're gonna come down here and probably do something super simple just to get people out and back into the main room. So I realize now that I'm rather dense, because while I thought it was big brain to be observant and take this little secret hidden route to get up here, you can just swim up the waterfall and get to the same spot. I can't believe I didn't think of that, but it looks so cool, so aesthetically pleasing. So if players want, they can do the parkour course, or they can just swim up the waterfall, whichever one. I'm not going to be mad about it. I am going to make the exit probably over here instead of over here, just because with this route I decided it was easier to go this way, because it would provide another layer of challenge. You know, if you're standing here, do you jump here or there? Who knows? But we know that you just swim up the waterfall. God, I can't believe I didn't think that through. But anyways, the whole point is still going to be to get here and make this jump at least onto this one, and then I'm going to have something. I'll make something work and get up here. But yeah, I need to handle this. Can't believe I didn't think of that. Upon editing together all the video clips that I had, I realized that this video is already pushing over 20 minutes, so I don't think we're going to be able to get to the second path, so I think that'll need to be in a separate video, sadly. But this part is done, and I think it looks really, really nice. I used a couple world edit commands to change the colors of the water, so now it's like this multi-toned kind of waterfall, and I think it looks really, really, really nice with the orange and then the blue of the concrete powder and all that together. So now we can go through, and I actually made all the jumps that time, super proud of myself, and push it all the way through like this. Ooh, I just cleared that so clean. That was impressive, to me at least. The goal is to work your way up to this little outcropping here, because you have to jump here. I made sure that you couldn't get up to this next part without running all the way around this little curve. So you can swim up the waterfall, swim up that waterfall, go up the side path, do whatever. You just need to get here and make this jump. This will bring you up to some little memorials right here with some offerings in front of them, and then it's just, decorative all up in here. And then grammar, are the first 3 saplings for our little puzzle at the end. So this tells you oak, spruce, birch, and then the next puzzle is going to tell you, what was it? Jungle, acacia, dark oak. And then once you solve both puzzles together, you'll have the full code and the 2 items to beat or to open the final puzzle. So all of that together, I think is looking pretty good. If we can make it a little brighter in here, or actually I have my chat turned off, but you can kind of see leaves all up in the ceiling, all decorated. I think it ended up looking pretty natural and came together quite nicely. But in the next episode, we're gonna have to do the most challenging part, which is figuring out how in the world to make it so that a player can leave the first key item that they get from this puzzle in here while they do the second one without running the risk of somebody coming in once they're doing the second one and taking the item or messing up the progress that they had by fiddling with their item in there. Whew. So it's gonna be a tough one, but I think we can do it. I'm gonna go through and run the puzzle once all the way through, and I think that'll do it for the video. Thank you very, very much for watching, guys. If you stuck around at the end, I am determined to make videos and make a series out of it, going all the way to the end of the project, which is going to be quite the endeavor. So if you're willing to stick around, or if you're interested in it, let me know in the comments what you thought about the video, and I can make any kind of changes that you would like to see, because pretty new again to making videos. So yeah, just let me know what you want to see, and I'll try to do the best I can to make it pleasant for you to watch. But for now, let's run this puzzle.